Hey, what's going on, you guys? And as you can see, I am spoiling the X-Men again. Uh, which is, if you know me, uh, I do love the X-Men. Maybe not in, I didn't grow up in the 90s or anything like that, but uh, I grew up with the movies and, I've grown to love a lot of, and some very cool animations. And I've grown to like a lot of different characters. So, and I think I can for sure say that they're probably my favorite Marvel team. Um, but there's quite a few of like my favorite all-time characters from Marvel that are also not on the X-Men at the same time. So, but that is not important here. So today we are continuing with the comic book wave. There's only at least one or maybe two more in this wave that I'm interested in getting. I've just been lucky enough to see this wave. And today, as you can see, we are reviewing the Marvel Legends Giant Size X-Men Banshee. And so here is the page. Here is the box packaging here. Banshee. On the back, you have an assortment of all the figures. As said before, I hope to get Adam Warlock and maybe Miles. I'm not super familiar with Braun, but that usually doesn't stop me. But I'm also trying to consider, saving, money. It's, and so there is that. But anyway, let's go over to the. Oh, why am I turning you guys? I can just move this over. As you can see, you got the blown up version of the first issue of Giant Size X-Men, which do have quite a few of my favorite characters. I do also have, Sunfire and Sunfire originally in this. Gosh, I thought for some reason I thought Sunfire was in Giant Size X-Men. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's just not in this cover. I don't know. Let me know down below. I may be wrong about that, so I do apologize. But I do like Sunfire a lot. But anyways, you got Nightcrawler, Wolverine. But anywho, there's a bio that says Marvel's Banshee. In Giant Size X-Men #1, Banshee agrees to help Professor Charles Xavier rescue the X-Men alongside a new team of mutant heroes. So, let's take a look at them. Here is Banshee. Now, I know technically, as far as I understand, this is technically a repaint. Man, am I... Sorry, guys. I'm trying to make a better... There we go. Finally got the right angle here. Okay. Okay, so here is Banshee. I do recognize that technically this is a repaint. There was I think there's a 3-pack, and he had the blue and yellow suit, which is also a great suit. But I'm not too picky when it comes to certain suits, but I do prefer the more iconic suits if I can. Obviously the X-Men are lucky because they've had quite a few iconic looks. Someone like Cyclops has had multiple looks. Wolverine has had multiple looks that are so well known and so diverse. But, I do like this version of Banshee best. And my connection to him is kind of a weird one because I've always known him as a part of the X-Men. But truth be told, I think my first connection to him at all was really through the X-Men First Class movie. He might have been in one of the animations that I watched growing up, which was X-Men Evolution and Wolverine and the X-Men, but I'm not. I don't think he was. I don't recall him being in there, but I do remember liking him a lot and knowing about him. So I just don't know where else from other than the movie right now. Obviously, as I grew up, I read comics and stuff like that. Yada, yada, yada. Anyway, enough rambling. Enough yapping. Let's take a look at his accessories first. So, as he is a comic book wave, he has the giant size X-Men wave, which again, it's neat. It's cool to see this, print on there. And you theoretically, if you got all of them, or even if you just got like 3 of them, you can maybe have them stacked somewhere if you're doing, action figure photography. But they're not really my thing. But hey, if it's an excuse to get, some of these characters that we want out, then I'm more than happy. So let's take a look at his hand. So he does come with a grip hand for the comic book accessories, which wouldn't bother me if it weren't for the fact... Wait, that's kind of interesting. You have a trigger finger hand, and some say it's to hold a pipe because he's, I guess, known for smoking a pipe. But obviously, they're not going to include that with a action figure, which is also a toy. But I just wish that he came with two pairs of this hand, because that's one of the looks that he's known for, is having his hands spread out when he's flying around based on this his screech. But the 2 fists work as well. Then, of course, right now I have the neutral face on because he's not really doing anything action-oriented, but he does have a screaming head. And for him, this is adequate. This is, his power. I don't know how you would showcase the power otherwise. I'm sure there's ways you could, but, since it is, he's using his, the power of his voice, really, I don't know how you could showcase the power other than giving him a screaming head. I'm sure there's a way, but, most likely he will be posed with this. I just have the normal head on, and this one actually doesn't have as thick of mutton chops, and I get that, like, obviously his hair is swept back, but on this one, the mutton chops come down pretty much to here, so it should still be there. So that's kind of an interesting little note, but anyway, time to actually take a look at the figure itself. So first off, face looks fantastic. Hair looks amazing. And you got the nice collar piece. The paint is fairly clean. I mean, it's a basic concept, green and yellow. And then, of course, the talking... Well, not really like the talking point, but the other important part of his design. You have his little... I don't know if you want to call them gliders or wings or just things that, help him fly. Now, obviously, the suit would have it attached to here, but they decided to have it attached on one of these. I have seen a lot of people just like snip this down a little bit so it's not as obvious. That doesn't really bother me. The only complaint I really have with this figure as a whole is this side is not the same as this side. I wish they are both, I wish it was just one continuous, thing, because this one you can clearly tell is more yellow, and you can still see a black and yellow pattern, but it's, yeah. So, but I guess, in most poses you're going to want, you're going to have this sticking out. But if you have them relaxing, depending on the angle you have this in, the other tint will show. So, but whatever. I mean, this doesn't bother me that much. I just thought I would point it out because I know it bothers some people. But I do believe this is the Vulcan body, as far as I understand. Yeah, it looks like the Vulcan body. Yeah, it is, because they have the little separate pieces. These pieces here are usually the only ones that aren't... They're not the best painted, or they don't match as well. But so let's get into the articulation. So his head can move up that far, move down that far. He can look side to side. The collar does get in the way just the slightest bit, but not too bad. And he doesn't really have any head tilt. I am curious, because obviously the hair goes all the way down, if this gets any different, but I don't think so. Maybe I'll test it out, maybe I won't. He does have butterfly joints. His shoulders can move out. He's got a bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, a wrist swivel, and a hinge in and out. He's got an ab crunch that allows him to go that far forward. that far back, and a waist swivel. His legs can kick up about that far. Well, you can't really see it, but it kicks that far back, kicks that far out. Actually, yeah. He's got an upper thigh cut, double jointed knees, boot articulation, ankle that goes down, goes up, and has got ankle pivot. And this is actually one of the first Marvel Legends figure in a while that I will say, for whatever reason, a lot of the newer Marvel Legends figures that I get tend to be a lot like tighter on the joints. He and like Dawkin, well, there's like one part on Dawkin, but like he and Dawkin I haven't had really any problems with. So, which is awesome. So, time for comparisons. Now, I'm only going to do a couple. I have one like very much related review or comparison, and I'm just going to have him stand in the pose that he currently is, which is next to Slim here, Mr. Cyclops. I know technically the outfits, aren't the outfits that they wore. Well, I don't know, because I've always known this outfit to be Banshee's outfit, but I know this outfit is one of many of Scott's iconic outfits. And then because I had him sitting around, I decided we'll get some Avengers representation in here. And one of, like, probably my... Loki might be kind of one of my favorite Marvel Legends figures. The 80 Years Iron Man. They kind of look good together. I don't know. I think the color contrast, because they all have like kind of he's got a gold, but it's still kind of a shiny, darker yellow. So you'll have like a yellow on them. But yeah, so we'll take those guys out here. So yeah. So that pretty much is all there is to it. I'm very happy to have another member of the X-Men, especially another, because there's so many members of the X-Men by this point. I love either getting the nicher ones, or if it's one of the ones that I consider like important or like more well known, it's really nice to get those. Because like, for example, I don't have Beast. Trying to think of other ones I don't have. I don't have X-23. I don't have Jubilee or Shadowcat or Colossus. Those are probably the other notable ones that I don't have. Siren has been released, and I could get her. I just never did for whatever reason. So, maybe if you guys are up for me going and reviewing at least a couple years old figure, then I will, of course, go and get Siren and review her. But I also, but yeah, it's always fun to get well-known X-Men, and the X-Men are the ones I have the most fun with. And I guess on a random side note, I think I might have mentioned this before, but my 3 favorite X-Men are Angel/Archangel, and then Rogue and Gambit. Those are my 3 favorites, in case anyone's wondering. Let me know your favorite X-Men down below, or, let me know what you think of this Banshee figure. Is maybe he's your favorite? I know it is interesting. I know sometimes like trying to mimic his ability can be kind of funny, because it really, if you think about it, he's just screaming to fly or to blast somebody away. So, you that's pretty much the only basis you get to go off of. So, but yeah, if you enjoyed this review, like, share, and subscribe. And thank you for all the support. I did notice that at least now 2 of my videos have reached 1,000 views, and I can't believe that. I'm not looking to be the most rich or anything like that. I just do this for fun, and I hope that it brings a little light to someone's day, or allows them to sit down for 10-15 minutes and forget about whatever's going on in the world. So, just for a little bit. So, but anyways, I hope you enjoyed this review. Like, share, and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.